Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys to having a successful life. And this is the technical difficulties edition. Um, for some reason, I can't get into my website to post my blog, so I'm just going to make this work. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I am your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. That's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and all that jazz. Keys to the reading. I read astrology differently. So if you're looking at what I'm saying and then go look at what you see in the newspaper, you're going to notice things are different. Here's why it's different. I practice what's called, is that even spelled right? I'm just going to do it that way. Constellation astrology, meaning I'm looking at where the planets are in the sky right now. It's also called true sidereal or astrology by the visible sky. Newspaper astrology is known as tropical astrology, which fixed the signs to, they say it fixed the signs to the seasons. What it really did was it fixed the signs to where they were around 220 AD in Roman times. I don't live in ancient Rome, neither do you. So they've got all their excuses. I don't buy any of them personally. Uh, Precession of the equinox, the ancients knew about it. They talked about it. The Mayans wrote about it. Let's use it. So it's called true sidereal. It's also known as true sidereal. Sidereal astrology, some astrologers will make each sign 30 degrees. In reality, they're all different sizes. So I'm practicing that. I use the natural size of the signs, which I just talked about. I use astrological midpoints. The current astronomical boundaries were drawn by the IAU. AIU. It's been one of those days. The IAU, and they seem a little haphazard, and they're just drawn. Um, Athens Shimenti came up with, he noticed that, and he noticed that they were reading constellations from one sign in a totally, or yeah, stars from one constellation in a totally different sign. Then he decided to fix it, and he looked at the zodiac belt. Here's the last bright constellation in sign A. Here's the first bright constellation in sign B. Here's the midpoint. Let's go with it. It works. There are 13 signs in the sky, as opposed to the 12 that the many astrologers use. It's between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Its name is Ophiuchus. It's the wounded healer. It's where you gain knowledge to heal yourself so you can heal others with similar wounds. This is the weekly edition. So these are universal lessons. Have compassion on yourself and your fellow Earth travelers. We're all going through the same thing. And I read what's called evolutionary astrology, saying these are lessons to learn. There are astrologers who read kind of fatalistically, versus evolutionary astrology says you have freedom of choice. There's the high road, there's the low road, and ideally you choose the high road. My dates are based on the Eastern US time zone, and they're within 1 degree, which does create for some interesting transits this week. So these are the weekly transits for the week of November 11th through 17th, 2024. The sun is currently in Libra, learning to down. Not only do I have technical issues today where I can't get into Squarespace to work on things, my cats are driving me nuts. So the sun is in Libra, where the aim is to learn peace and serenity. Things will seem out of balance. Just learning to go with the way the wind blows is a good thing. The moon, it starts the week early in Aquarius, jumps quickly into Pisces, where we'll spend most of this week. We will have the full moon in Taurus. So really, this is only 3 signs this week: Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. Aquarius, we begin the week and it's just like over that fast. The full moon is in Taurus, where you're emotionally trying to find just peace and stability, and your ego is in the scales of Libra, going up and down and reflecting on those two things back and forth. Joys. Active this week, we have the sun. These are the planets that are making the most transits. Um, the sun, Mercury, and Mars this week are pretty active. That's in the inner planets, and the outer planets, the nodes of the moon, Jupiter and Saturn. We do have a sign change this week. Mercury leaves Libra, leaves Scorpio and enters Ophiuchus. We do have two power transits with an asterisk. Jupiter is sextile Chiron still, and Mars is in aspect to the nodes, the north node of the moon and the south node of the moon. And I do say asterisk here. Venus is also in aspect to the north node of the moon. Usually when a planet's in, I'll talk about this later. Usually when I'll just do that later. Station direct. Saturn finally goes station direct this week. Thank you. And Aquarius, maturing in your authenticity. And that leaves us with the following planets retrograde: Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron. So that feeling a little stuck is lightening up a bit. Okay, here we have this, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so this is easier to see. And as you can see, let me get my little doodle tool. We do have the beginning of the week nice and calm. I don't know if you can see that. Make that red. The beginning of the week, just that one transit in the beginning of the week, and then the rest of the week, it picks up. And it just, that's where we get the nodes of the moon and everything kicking in. So it is a little bit, and like I said, the moon, as you can see, very steady right here, beginning of the week all the way up till Thursday. And then Thursday into Friday, and then the rest of the week. So we do have a steady moon, steady emotional sense, a steady soul. It's just that we're just dealing with stuff. And like I say, starting Wednesday, that's where we're dealing with the nodes of the moon. Excuse me. Sign change, the full moon, and our closeout of the week. That's where the sun decides to show up. So let me close that out. That's good. Next slide. Okay, now I'm gonna, because I have to jump into my notes a little bit here back and forth. It's not transferring to my tablet nicely, so I'm gonna have to do it this way. Come on, back. Thank you. Down. No, wrong thing. This is what I want. Okay, this is our power transit galore. Jupiter is retrograde in Taurus, sextile in Chiron, retrograde in Pisces. So Jupiter is reflecting on its opportunity to find peace and stability. Sextile is an excitement or an interest. And this is Chiron in Pisces. So this is healing spirituality. Lay down, you little goofball. Come on. The parkour kitten wants to climb all over me, and I'm really not in the mood for it right now. That's okay. You just got a little scratchy in your ear. So this is a sextile, and a sextile can be an excitement or an interest, and this is where I jump to my crazy little notes. Here we go. Reflecting on healing leaves an opportunity for peace and stability. And this is an interest in this. So that's the key there. Be open to deep healing as well and being able to release the wounds. That's going to be important. And never doubt the spirit to work in times of stillness. Opportunity in Jupiter in Taurus, take the opportunity to find your moments of peace and quiet and embrace them. And that's when spirit actually can work the most, is when we can just chill ourselves out. It's possible to release wounds and recover your strength. Avoid falling into over under confidence in your ability to work on healing. Also avoid falling into Pisces can be delusional, but to be kind. It can fall into fantasy, escapism, and Chiron can be very wounding at the same time. So it's very possible to be wounding first and foremost of yourself and then of others, and then causing wound and then just living in denial of it. I'm just going to go with that. Let's see. And we also begin the week, with the moon in Aquarius. And we jump back here. Look for opportunities to feel emotionally free. Expect new direction to be presented. Your quest to feel more real. This is you feeling who you really are instead of who the world tells you you're supposed to be. Be careful of acting out or selling out. And the moon with your emotions can just either which way. It can go way over the top and what have you. Both can feel fake. Excuse me, and attract the wrong attention or intentions from others. So very possible for people to push your buttons and play games with you. Monday, we have Mercury, excuse me, there we go. Mercury in Scorpio squaring Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So Mercury in Scorpio, taking knowledge deeply, communicating at a deeper level, thinking at a deeper level, is being challenged by who you really are. And is what you're, and as you dig deep into this knowledge, that's the challenge. Squares are challenges and they're designed to strengthen you. And Saturn in Aquarius is having the maturity to become who you really are. So it's the knowledge you're gaining helping you and be it true to your authentic self. Let's see what I wrote here. La-di-da-di-da. Accept the challenge of self-discipline and learning. Release what is no longer serving you. Also apply this to your communication as well. Situations can show where your growth is needed. Pay attention to people who are confident in who they are and skilled in who they are as well. I would say that. They can be your best teachers. So there's that. And this shadow, there's always that shadow. Mercury can talk and talk and talk. And in Scorpio, it can be snippy and snipey. And wounding with words really is very possible here. And Saturn in Aquarius, just like, why bother? You know what? I'm just going to blow this up and screw it up. So why not just go over the top and just sell out and blow out, or flip side of the coin, sell out and give in. And so and squares, this is the shadow of the square. That's where you have that crushing and that tension creating pressure that leads to crushing. It can be a challenge that strengthens, squares can be a challenge that strengthen you, or they can crush you. So ideally, come on, just lay down, okay? It's late and I got to get up for work in the morning. I want to get something out tonight. I'm sorry. So feeling lazy or overwhelmed can lead to a dead end. Also be careful of falling into a false self, either becoming overly eccentric or selling out to fit in. Adopting group think or speak points to failure. So when we go back here, so if you're thinking like everybody around you and not asking questions or not trying to learn things at a deeper level, that's certainly a sign of things just blowing up and going bad. What else do we have? Also, we have the moon entering Pisces. Emotionally, you're looking for a vision and you're up for it. So moon entering Pisces, look for a new and inspiring vision for your life. If you're not, feel like you're not getting something, ask for it and be open. Look for the opportunity to grow your inner and spiritual life. So yeah, Pisces is very much about, I would say very much about the internal life. Whether it's retrograde or not, spirituality can be more about that inner life. So do pay attention to that, and hopefully you find that vision. The shadow here is falling into fantasy or denial or withdrawing for life. Feeling empty or purposelessness are also signs of falling into that shadow. And just emotionally being numb. That would be another thing. Numbing yourself emotionally to what's going on around you would be very much a sign of that shadow as well. Or just falling into this fantasy. That would be, those would also be the shadows there. And let's scroll down a little bit. Tuesday, take a deep breath. Remember to exhale. Because the rest of the week really picks up. Wednesday, we have Mars trining this This is a sextile. Why didn't I notice that in rehearsal? Sextiling the South Node in Virgo. Now, Mars in Cancer is having the courage to care for yourself. And South Node in Virgo, let me grab my notes here really quick. The South Node is making you aware of old patterns that you have in your life. So, caring for yourself in the same old way, well, might not be a good thing. Ideally, you're releasing what no longer works for you. Releasing from yourself the self-care that doesn't work and it's just dragging you down and holding you back. The shadow here is becoming defensive and clinging on to that and not wanting to let it go. So let's see what I wrote here. Accept the challenge. Nope. Scroll down. Here we go. Defend yourself against unrealistic expectation, whether yourself or others. Those are those old patterns that can reappear. Know how to shield and protect yourself from them. Oh, that's another way of looking at it. That's what I wrote. That's why I like having my notes on a tablet in front of me. Just for some reason, today's technical difficulties day. Falling into fear of change and defending your ability to stay the same can lead to feelings of being trapped. It is very possible to feel trapped and caught up in unrealistic expectations. That's that South Node in Virgo. Just reliving them and not wanting to change, bad thing. And we also have the North Node in Pisces. That's the trine. That's an interest here. And that, like we said, having the courage to take care of, nurture, and take care of yourself. And the North Node in Pisces, that's an evolutionary intention, spirituality, learning to be present and in the moment. This is literally learning to take care of yourself in the moment. Let's see what my other notes say, because God knows. Stand up for your right to defend your purpose in your life at your time. Also be present in order to nurture and heal wounds and release them. Being present, being in the moment can be healing. Cancer is about self-care and healing as well. So doing that can be good. Now, the shadow here, be careful becoming defensive about life and its aims or not wanting to go anywhere at all, falling into like fantasy and whatever. Ignorance is always bliss. That would be the shadow of Pisces, falling into fantasy, delusion, etc. Falling into fear or denial can lead to a fear of change. That's another shadow here. Let me jump back in here because Mars, it can be the shadow of Mars is fear or anger. Cancer can wanting to become invisible, hide, protect itself, being defensive. And then North Node, ignoring your purpose and just wanting to hide away and fly away. Not well, fly away, but you get what I mean. That's that, and that trine makes it all too easy to do. It makes a big mess fast. And this is the weird one for the week because normally when you're an aspect to one node, you're an aspect to the other. And when I ran this, it didn't bring up the South Node. So Venus technically Venus should be in a T-square to the North Node and the South Node. Venus in Sagittarius, Venus is about relationships, being open to other people, receiving help, also your creativity. And this is the challenge of, first of all, to the south, this is squaring the North Node. The North Node in Pisces, it's your evolutionary intention being present. So, wanting to go out on a limb, but at the same time being present. And this is a releasing square. So you're releasing things that are keeping you from being present. Let me see what I wrote here. Learn to release stress by being present and can help you to build and strengthen your relationships. Also, being open to experience by being in the moment. That means releasing all the distractions. Look who can look to those. God. I know my cats jumped on the keyboard. I didn't realize they could mess it up that bad. Look to those who can help you rise above situations and see life from different perspectives. Um, Also, pay attention to spiritual pursuits. That can be very helpful as well. Being present, experiencing the moment with those closest to you can be very important right now, and strengthening. So yeah, being present can be very anytime you're dealing with something in Pisces, the key thing in Pisces is don't just do something, be there. Be present, be in the moment. And Venus in Sagittarius wants to get up and run all over the world. And it's okay to get up and explore and be with people, but be present with them. Otherwise, you run the risk of getting lost. And that's where we're falling into shadows here, over and under. I forgot to put the over and under. Do I have that yet? Falling into ignorance because of over under confidence can lead to mistakes and misfortune. Also, living in a fantasy or denial can take you to the same outcome. Uh, Venus, Venus can be slick and manipulative, and can fall into fantasies about its abilities. And just this is just a recipe for disaster. And this square can ruin relationships and fast. Flip side of the coin here is we have the South Node in Pisces, and the aim of the South Node in Pisces is to show you how you're holding yourself to unrealistic expectations in what relationships and creativity, and um, and granted, Sagittarius is about learning trust and getting up and going out and exploring and finding new ways of doing things. Be careful of holding yourself to those unrealistic expectations. That sometimes it's good to explore new ways. Sometimes the challenge is, you know what? Sometimes a little stability can be good, but it's knowing when to do that, and that's the challenge here to me. So be careful because because your relationships, your creativity right now are between a rock and a hard place of unrealistic expectations of the past, and being present and knowing and balancing that can be the challenge here. And Thursday, let's jump into Thursday. The moon enters Aries. Emotionally, you're up for a challenge here. Look to release your fears and find courage. Accept the challenges placed before you as opportunities to grow. Um, Falling into fear or anger can lead to emotional wounds, emotional outbursts, anger, fear. That can come up, and that can come up very powerfully and emotionally, especially because we're dealing with the moon in Aries. So there's that. Thursday, Mercury enters Ophiuchus, learning and communication. And Ophiuchus, the sign of healing. The aim of Ophiuchus is to learn how to heal. The symbol of Ophiuchus is that of a man holding a snake by the head and the tail, implying control of knowledge, because in ancient times, the snake symbolized knowledge. So it's learning to heal, and it's learning to heal your ability to learn and communicate. So that can be very, very important right now. Be open to learning new ways of healing yourself and being able to share it with others. Learn what your healing modality is. How is it best for you to heal yourself? And also be open to learning to heal through words or affirmations, or get into healing your thoughts and mind. Be open to the information that appears to you. This is really the ability to heal your ability. Saying the word ability too much. This is an opportunity to heal your ability to learn and communicate, and find the different ways of doing that. Um, and then being able to serve as a model and a teacher, mentor to others who are struggling with that same challenge. The shadow. Mercury can talk up a storm or not want to talk at all. And not Venus, I'm sorry, Ophiuchus, instead of healing, using knowledge to wound. So you can use words to wound people, which would be very damaging. Or you can learn how to heal and just not share it with anybody. That would be equally as devastating. What did I write here? Be careful of shallow or superficial learning or using knowledge gained to wound yourself or others. Also, over and understanding knowledge can lead to becoming tangled up or ensnared in a situation that you might want to be involved in. This is where words of wisdom comes in from the mythos of Ophiuchus. He gained knowledge how to heal himself, and he was healing everybody where he really shouldn't have been. He only should have been healing select people, and souls weren't going down to Haiti, down to the underworld to be punished, etc., whatever, and wait. And Pluto got ticked off and got in Zeus's face, and Zeus wound up killing Ophiuchus. So doing the wrong thing can lead to you being punished and punished severely. So be careful of that. And also on Thursday, hold on, Saturn and Aquarius turn station direct. So you may feel a little stuck here. That's what station direct does. But the aim of Saturn is maturity and growth. Now I have Kit wanting to climb on me. And growing and maturing in what? Your individuality and authenticity. So this is you becoming your real self and facing that challenge in life. So achieve freedom by letting go of what no longer serves or suits you. Look to your values and work on living up to them. So this is you becoming who you really are. That's the big challenge there. Now the shadow here, Saturn can feel overwhelming, and just like why bother even trying because you can't succeed at all. Um, so the two choices there are either becoming wildly eccentric, acting out to get a reaction from other people, or selling out with the hopes to fit in. And either one of those leaves you feeling empty and unfulfilled. So do be advised of that. And then we go into Friday, and this is where the moon will be for the rest of the week. Emotionally, you're looking for peace and stability. The moon enters Taurus. Just release what stands in the way of calming down and getting grounded. Read the story of Ferdinand the Bull. It's in the children's section of about virtually every library. Just learning to be, get up, do yourself a favor, get up and go out in nature over the week, or from Friday on. Spend at least 15 minutes outside if you can, even if it's standing under an awning. Something is better than nothing. Find time for peace and quiet and rest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just chill out. That's like the big lesson. The shadow is feeling stuck in a rut, can lead to boredom and emotional blocks. The other thing here is that Taurus can be the bull in a china shop. And being emotionally a bull in a china shop, ouch. So I don't have that written in there, but just being even aware of that is good to know. And it will be the full moon in Taurus on top of that. So you have the sun in Libra, just feeling a little out of whack and out of balance and trying to balance things. And emotionally, the ego, that's the ego, trying to find peace and serenity. And this emotionally, you just want to chill out and calm down. And it's learning to balance that, or in this case, reflect on. How can finding peace finding emotional peace be calming and finding peace and serenity for the ego? And yes, I will say this 10,000 times. You came here to learn to have a healthy ego. It's just that when the ego is in Libra, things get a little up and down and what have you. So how can finding emotional peace help you find peace in your core identity? If you don't like the word ego, go for core identity. Because in Libra, you're dealing with scales, and those things can go up and down until they find stability. So let's see, what did I find right here? Reflect on your roots and what that home means to you. Also learn to listen to your inner voice and its messages. Finding your inner peace is important around to provide stability. Take your time. Take your quiet time as needed. Withdraw in nature if possible. And I forgot to write down the shadow, so I'm just going to look here for what I have. Oh, be careful with the ego and the emotions getting out of control and becoming unstable. Also, be careful of going through motions. Routine and falling into a routine can leave you feeling empty and feeling exhausted. I'll type that up when I can get to the blog. And at the same time of that, we're also going to have the sun will be opposite Uranus. And like I said, this is the ego reflecting on your individuality. And The ego right now is being a little upsy, tipsy, turvy, and your individuality is just reflecting on how it can find peace and stability. Let's jump in here. So reflect on your self-knowledge. Are you being who you really are? Decide. Also, are you following your heart and finding peace that way? Unusual events can lead to breakthroughs in knowing who you are. So do, find that time. And an opposition is balance. And that's the balance here. And finding that emotional peace can actually help you find peace in the ego. So this is going to be very, very important here. So finding, and balancing your authentic self, I think is going to be very important here. So your authentic self can be, if you're with being who you really are, that can be the most stabilizing thing in helping you calm and stabilize your ego. So do that. Let's see, what do I have? Living another life can leave you feeling out of balance or out of peace and place with yourself. Acting out or selling out can leave you feeling mixed up and or confused. This is that tug of war that the opposition can be. And that leaves you feeling out of balance, out of whack, and very destabilized. And that creates its own set of problems. Saturday, take a breath. Remember to exhale. You know what? With the moon in Taurus, go outside. And Sunday, we're down to our final two transits of the week. Mercury in Ophiuchus, learning to heal, is opposite Jupiter in Taurus, where Jupiter is retrograde. So what you're learning to heal is that providing you with the opportunity to find peace in your life. And this is a balance. You're learning to heal. It should ideally is giving you that opportunity for peace. See what I wrote here. Learn to reflect on your words. Are they healing? Pay attention to what you are saying. Also listen to what is being said around you, whether spoken or in writing. Provide clues for you to learn. Pay attention that are generous with praise and use their words to heal. They can be good teachers. So reflect on that. Are your words healing? Is what you're learning helping you to heal yourself and potentially heal others with similar wounds? Now, the shadow, Mercury can talk up a storm or not want to talk at all. So talking too much or not at all can become an issue and create all sorts of problems. There's also a problem to alienate yourselves and others by wounding them and yourself by wounding them with words and with information they may not be ready to handle. Also, grandiose plans, unrealistic goals can lead to distrust by others. So it's ability to lose trust here, and that can be problematic as well. Let's see, there was something else I was going to say. It'll come to me. I'll just write it up as a blog post. And finally, our final transit for the week. The sun in Libra is in a trine to Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Anytime with Neptune in Pisces, don't just do something, sit there. Be present. Trine, this is easy. And this is a releasing trine. So release what is destabilizing. Release what is keeping you out of the present moment. Release what is distracting to you. Because when you do that, you'll find that the scales calm down. Let's see what we have here. Also, spirituality reflect. Take time to work on your spiritual practices. Are you being present? Being spiritually present can be amazing for you. Focus on your inner path and be open to inspiration or other spiritual experiences. And this can be easy for you to do because trines are easy. The shadow here is an out of control ego falling into fantasy. Ouch. Being indecisive can lead to desire to escape, either falling into fantasy or denial, or being over and under. No, wait a minute. Yeah, being over under confident can lead to a loss of who you really are, loose. Loss of who you really are. So it's very possible for you to become out of balance and fall into this fantasy and lose your identity and just get lost. So that's this upcoming week in a nutshell. Follow me on social media, especially on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. I'm also on the Digital Soul Space. These guys up here are making billions of dollars off of your data. Digital Soul Space is privacy oriented. And it's on the Mighty Network, so your privacy is first and foremost. And it's a troll-free zone. If somebody's trolling or acting inappropriately, they can be booted. Sad to say, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. So yeah. I do. Hopefully, the site comes back up. I hope this is just Squarespace, just doing backups and glitches on that. But I do offer readings. I do birth charts, which in evolutionary astrology says this is your life contract. This is who you came here to become. I do a karmic chart, which I can read one of two ways. One way, there are people who believe they're on a one and done. So I read this as a special lesson, or I'm reading it, secondly, as a past life where a deep wound was happened, and that wound is reappearing in this lifetime. And I can tell you what the wound is, how it appears, and then how to heal it. So there's that. And then I do read horoscopes. If you want a daily, I can do a daily, but I do monthly, and I like to go new moon to new moon because that's a natural cycle. But I can do up 30 to 31 days. Pick and choose. I do monthly. I can do quarterly, which is a 3 month block. I can do yearly. There are some people who like years, you think the year is January 1st to December 31st. That is a financial year. We just passed Samhain, also known as Halloween, which is November 1st, wound up being the first day of the Celtic New Year. Friends who are First Nations, Native Americans, or native to Turtle Island, I should say. America comes from Amerigo Vespucci, an Italian. So let's call it Turtle Islands, who are native to Turtle Island, and their ancestry is Turtle Island. And my one friend that I do readings for says that his nation celebrates the midwinter solstice as their new year. My friends that are Jews, they have their New Year in September. I know people who celebrate their New Year as their birthday. The year can be whenever you tell me to start. And I do packages that combine these. So if you buy a package, there is a 10% discount. So there's that. So do like, follow, share. When my website comes back up, hopefully soon, sign up for the newsletter where I offer discounts and special promos. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. I have dyslexia too. And thank you for bearing with the technical difficulties version of the weekly forecast. So I will get this posted to YouTube tonight. Thank you. Have yourself the best week possible.